So what the board is doing is we have been trying in the last almost a year, I guess, trying to get the center listed for sale. So Andreas and Peng Fei and Sumi, and then there's one yogi from Malaysia, Lin, a new one, but he has a very high saddha, but totally new to the practice. And then Helen, they are the key people planning, and eventually we come to the point of getting a realtor to get listed. And right now we are discarding all the junks and then saving things that we need and going to put in a storage. So, and it is not appropriate to put a center Buddha statue in a storage bin. So we offer to put it in this place, which is also the registered society, register place for the SMSC. So that is where we come to be. So with that, Helen and basically the whole gang brought the Buddha last evening and then place it, set it, everything. And today is the opening ceremony. In a sense, it will be the temporary Buddhist, you can call it center or monastery or whatever what you like to use it. It will be here, and from now on, when we get the Buddhist statue here and announce it as a center, we cannot just sit and putting the Buddha statue is not sufficient, so we have to do Dhamma activities. At the moment, I plan to have at least once a month around the full moon day. Full moon day, do I talk loud enough? Everybody can hear? Because my voice is very low. Once a month around full moon day, but full moon, so it will be mostly fall on a weekend because nobody can come if it is a weekday. We'll have a function like this, come early, meditate, then around that time it will be more of a meditation oriented, and then Dhamma talk, and then also potluck lunch. So at least once a month we'll have that, and that is the for sure activity. And if there is, with the suggestions of the group, if you like to see more activities, we can discuss about it at the around the lunchtime, and then can see. But one thing to announce is that people who might not know is right now what I did was I passed all the retreat activities, and we basically what I used to do in a Dhamma lab and in the retreat and retreat center and stuff like that, everything to Siale. Siale is the key person who will be conducting the retreat at the retreat center, and we are going to acquire another property closer to town. It may be smaller in the building as well as in land, but it will be smaller. The funds that we receive from the sale will not be sufficient, so Sumi is and the gang, the whole, I call it, whenever I say Sumi, the gang, because she knows the computer stuff, the online fundraising with a specific project describing and target, that's one thing. And also we never know, somebody might want to come and donate a larger amount. So at least we think we have about 800,000 in our bank account. And also Graham Estate is still not finished, but we were at first thought we might have quite a bit, but after the clearing of everything, we may end up with about 50 or so. that's about what we will receive from Gram Estate, but still in the process. So that is our future plan for to get a new place. Again, too, that is where Siali stands. She will conduct retreats in there, and also because it is a lot closer, so even the weekends will be everybody can go, and even weekdays, if it is within half an hour, 45 minutes, go and meditate, self-retreat, so those activities will be open. We plan in such a way because she teaches in many different places before, and then this time when she came back, she said she committed her time for the SMSC, so she got a full time. So that's why the workload of the retreat and the meditation and stuff like that with the Siali. And myself, by coincidence, because of the COVID, we started online teaching, and I found it benefits many people around the world. So I'm doing 100% online. So those are my activities. That doesn't mean that I'm leaving these yogis out. Just to put it in a different way, right now, 2 of the yogis here are registered online, and I'm just doing or teaching exactly what is needed, interviewing, things like that. So through that online, our yogis can do that, but I'm not intending to teach in person one-to-one anymore. But at the same time, until and unless if a person have a very everybody knows their own situation, it really is difficult for them, and that kind of thing, send me a letter or send me email, send me a phone, and I will see in person for that specific person, for that specific purpose, but not on a regular basis. So that one is still available to our group, but mostly it will be online. So you can get online, and even I give the retreat online. Okay, some of the yogis are overseas yogis are so intense, they will go and rent a room or a place so that they can be alone in there just for that retreat. So I just conducted 3-week retreats. So they are quite serious meditators, around the world. So for that reason, for the benefits of the many, I directed my 100% attention to the online teaching. So that is the announcement, how this center become to be, and what new facilities we are. With the same facility, but Siali helps a lot in-person basis, and we also have online. And everybody, if you want still be in contact with Dhamma, just register it, and then, but one thing is there's an assignment. You have to do a certain assignment. It's not just registering it enough. And then I interview regularly those people. So with that, any question? Okay, if there's no question, that's the announcement of the temporary Buddhist center and the Dhamma activities that will occur here. And if you want to see more activities, suggestions are welcome at our lunch time. And right now we are going to take 9 precepts and then a Sutta Recitation. And we'll take all 9 precepts here, but around noon time, you see, you drop from the 9 precepts, you are in the 5 precepts. So don't worry about time and things like that. So by noon, starting from now till noon, will be on a 9 precept basis. Okay, everybody knows our routine, 9 precepts, so we're all together, recite together. Salutation to the Buddha and Namo Tassa and 9 precepts. Buddham Pujayami. Dhammam Pujayami. Sangham Pujayami. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Tatiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Panati Pada Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Adinadana Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Abramacharya Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Musavada Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Suramiraya Micca Madhatana Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Nicca Gita Varita Visuddha Dasana Malaganda Vivekana Dharana Mananda Vibhusanadhana Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Vikala Bhojana Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Sayana Mahasayana Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Mitta Sahagatena Cetasa Saravatam Dukkam Stitva Viharami. Buddham Pujayami. Nagapalayanasa Pachero Hotu. Dhammam Pujayami. Bow down. Sangham Pujayami. Idame Sila Metta Palayanasa Pichyo Hotu. Okay, this one is we can just mentally say it, everybody, because there's no proper English translation I have. So basically we offer the Buddha, water, food, and these flowers collectively. And the reason we offer this is food and water is basically it's for life. So it's a life continuum, life sustenance, and with respect and honor we offer it. It is not that the Buddha partake these or not. It's just a sign of honor and respect. And the flowers are just like, we like to be in a pleasant place, so more like a decorative. So mentally, you can offer water, food, and flowers. And then we can say, Idame Ponya Asawakya Waha Hotu. Buddham Jami. Dhammam Jami. Sangham Jami. I will recite the sutta facing the Buddha, and in Pali. Okay. Basically, it will be the, first of all, according to the tradition, we invite all beings, especially devas from across the world, whoever wishes to come and listen to the sutta, Buddha Sutta. That is one. And then we will be reciting the Mangala Sutta, which means it is the 36th blessing. English is blessing, but it is something good and wholesome to do, which covers the spectrum of everyday lay person to up to the point of arahant. It covers the whole spectrum. I think we have talked about it for about a month or so, I think. And then Ratana Sutta, it is the with regard to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha and their qualities. And Metta Sutta is loving kindness. And then after that is Kanda Sutta. It is especially directed to all beings, whether from the insects up to the Brahma. And after that, it will be the 7 factors of enlightenment. And then after that will be Patissasapupadada. And finally, it will be Patana, 24 conditions. So it will take about, I will take the shorter version and about 20 minutes. You may listen to the sound, or you may simply just meditate, whichever one you prefer. Tamanda Sakawale tu Atarage Santu Devadam Tadama Muni Raza Datunan to the Kamakadam Tamadavanaga Loyam Badandam Tamadavanaga Loyam Badanda Tamadavanaga Loyam Badandam Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tata Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Yedanda Danda Saita Titarana Tarana Atta Lokantariwa. Boma Sa Dewa Guna Gana Gana Ada. Taba Kala Ede Ayandu Dewa Garakamaye. Meru Razi Watando Dando the Hito. Muniwara Wasanando Du Mega the Mega. Tabedu Sakawale Du Yakade Wasa Temano Yamabi Katambonya Taba Tamori Badakam. Tabeda Nu Modedwa Amagai Tarata Bamada Hita Hondu Arakadu Vidadom. Adana sa lokata vodi buru tabrada na pen sa lokin sa diwa rekandu tabadam tade hondu tu kita pebri wari he adano ni ga tu mana hondu taha tabe hinya devi raja dowa sora dowa manauda dowa amanauda dowa agi dowa udaka dowa pitasa dowa kanuga dowa kandaka dowa nakada dowa sanabara roga dowa Adharma dowa, adhandeti dowa, adhabudita dowa. Sandahati adhamiga gona gokora hi wasaka manita badipi. Isa drisa duraka mahinda yakara kadadihi. Nana vya dowa, nana roga dowa, nana uba dowa, arekang gadandu. Yamengalan Dwaradahi Seni Nuda Devaka Tutana Nadi Sandi Tatin Sa Mengalam Dedidan Dewa Devina Daba Baba Vinadanam Daba Loka Hidadaya Mengalan Damana Mahe Ewome Tutan Ekantamayam Bhagava Davitiyam Viharadi Zedavane Natha Penikada Arame Thako Nyadara Devada Abekanaya Ratiya Abekana Wanang Kevala Kapanse Tawanam Obade Dwa Yena Bhagavade Nubaden Hame Ubaden Hame Dwa Bhagavandang Apiwa Ditawam Egamandan Thati Egamandan Tida Kota Devada Bhagavandang Gathaya Isabati Bahu Dewa Manauda Sa Mengalani Aseniyom Aken Kamanan Dotana Yuhi Mengala Moktamam Adewana Sa Balanam Baninanin Sa Dewana Buza Sa Buzanian Tang Eta Mengala Moktamam Padiruba Dida Wado Sa Bobe Sagada Bonyada Datama Benidi Sa Eta Mengala Moktamam Bahu Dekden Sa Dekben Sa Winayo Sa Duketi Dotu Badida Sa Yawasa Eta Mengala Moktamam Madapidu Badhana Buddha Darada Bengahona Gudasa Kamantang Ita Mengla Muktamam Danesa Damasriya Sanyaraka Sa Bengahona Vasani Kamani Ita Mengla Muktamam Aradi Varadi Baba Misabana Sadayamo Abamaro Satamedu Ita Mengla Muktamam Karosa Niwado Sadandodi Sagati Nyuda Galina Damada Vanang Ita Mengla Muktamam Kadi Sada Visada Damana Nisada Nangalina Damatangesa Eta Mengla Muktamam Dabosa Vyama Sariyan Sariya Desana Dadana Nibana Desigriya Sa Eta Mengla Muktamam Pautada Loga Demehi Saitaya Dana Kampadiya Dokan Virazan Kemang Eta Mengla Muktamam Eta Dida Nigadwana Dabatama Parasita Tabarado Tengi Sandi Dande Da Mengla Muktamam Mengla Dautan Ititam Ratana Dautam Panida Dado Bataya Data Grada Dada Barmio Dada Barmio Data Bada Parmayoti Tabadin Tabarmio Batan Pisa Maha Prisagi Lokata Sriyanya Data Sriyam Buddha Sriyanti Ekdo Sriya Yopisima Wikaba Wogan Desati Vineknabadana Sriyam Bori Panenke Mara Vijayan Tabinyuda Nyana Badi Vedanta Masaka Bavotanam Nawa Lagotra, the Medi, Tabi, Pime, Buddha, Gune, Awizetwa, with Aliati, Pakranda, Ritu, Diamara, Temperatan, Karono, Ayatamatiro, Vida, Karunya, Satan, Upata Pitawa. Kotida, the Hadi, Sakawale, Devadaya, the Namanekanan, the Yensa, with Aliapure. Roga, Madame Dobika, Mudan, Dividam, Bayang, Keba, Mandaranda, Bedi, Britan, Damanamahi. Yani Dabudani, the Magadani, Bomani, Wayani, Wa, and Aleke, Tabewa, Buddha, the Manaba, to Atobi, the Kinsa, to Nandu, Badikam. Tatamahi, Buddha, Nida, Meta, the Bemetan, Karota, Manubi, Abasaya, Tiwasa, Radosa, Harandi, Yibling. Tatmahine Rakada Abamada Yang Gesi Wedang Irangwa Hurangwa Deki Duwa Yang Yaranambanitam Nan Nolaman Atida Takadena Idambi Podir Tanambanitam Edena Desena Tuti Kotu Kayang Viraga Amadambadida Yatajaga the Jamuni the Mahito Nadi Nadame Nadamati Kensi Idambi the Mirror Nabani Dang Edena the Sena the Wati Hodu Yamboda the Topadi Unai to Sain Tamari Manangari Ganya Mahu Tamari Nadamona was a day Idambi the Mirror Nabani Dang Edena the Sena the Wati Hodu Ye Bogla Atadaram Batara Sadari Edani Yogani Hondi De Dakini Dugata Tawaka, Ede Dudinam, Ni Mahapalani, Idambi Tangi, Nambani Dam, Edena de Sena, the Wati Hodu. Ye the Bayo Damanada, Dena Negami, no Godamata, the Nami, De Badi Bada Amada, Wikasha, Lada Buddha, Nebudi Boza Mana, Idambi Tangi, Nambani Dam, Edena de Sena, the Wati Hodu. Yeria the Sani Vivawa Yandi, Kabira Banyena Dude Dani Kinsabi de Hundi Zamba Matam, Nade Bon Atama Mariandi Idambi Dang Yeronamani Dang, Edena the Sena, the Wati Hotu. The Hawa Dadana Dambadaya Tayaduta Zahida Bawondi, Takaya Deti Wizi Gensi, Tensa de la Badawa Biatari Gensi. Stua Bai Sa Wiba Moto Sisabi Tanani Ababa Kadong Idambi Dang Yeronamani Dang, Edena the Sena, the Wati Hotu. The Hawa Dadana Dambadaya Tayadu the Bazahida Bawondi, Takaya Deti Wizi Gensa, Tensa de la Badawa Biatari Gensi. Stua Bai Sa Wiba Moto Sisabi Tanani Ababa Kadong Idambi Dang Yeronamani Dang, Edena the Sena, the Wati Hotu. Kensabi to Kamagrodi Babagam, Diana Wasa Uda Se Tatawa, Ababa Tata Brisa Daya, Ababa Brida Tata Buddha. Idam Bidang Yeronamani Dang, Edena the Sena, the Wati Hotu. Wanapa, Gombi, Yata, Podi, Dagi, Gimana, Mate, Barvatamin, Kimi, Tatupaman, Maura, Ade, Idambi, Bodera, Namani, Dang, Edena, the Sena, the Wati Hodu. Waro, Waranyu, Warado, Waraharo, Notorama, Orang, Ade, Idambi, Bodera, Namani, Dang, Edena, the Sena, the Wati Hodu. Kinam Borana Nawana Tidambo, Virata Sedaya Tige Wataming, De Kine Pizza Aviduli Sana de Banditi Yatayambaribo, Idam Bidang Yarnabani Dang, Edina de Sena, the Wati Hotu. Yani Budani, the Magadani, Bomani, Wayani, Wandaleke, Tathagrande Wamno, the Uzitam Budana Matlama, the Wati Hotu. Yani Budani, the Magadani, Bomani, Wayani, Wandaleke, Tathagrande Wamno, the Uzitam Namatama, the Wati Hotu. Yani Budani, the Magadani, Bomani, Wayani, Wandaleke, Tathagrande Wamno, the Uzitam Namatama, the Wati Hotu. Ranado Taniti Tam. Metta Thutam Yadanu Bavado Yakane Wadadati Bidanang Yani Sevadi Usando Ratandi Wama Bandito Dukhan Dubrido Dosaba Banking Sinabadri Ewamari Kunubeda Bretan Damanama Karaniya Matha Gudalena Yata Danabadami Timisa Dako Uzu Sadu Waso Sada Mudu Nati Mani Tando the Gosado Brosa Bagi So Sadala Huka Bukti Ande Rio Sani Bagosa Abaga Bahuli Dwananu Vedo Nasa Kota Masare Kinsi Yena Urube Uba Wareyon Duki Nova Kemi no Hondu Zabada Bawon to the Pirata Yegesi Bana Buddha Tita Dwa Tawara Namadeda Igawa Yewa Mahanda Mizimara Daga Nuka Tula Dekawa Yewa Adita Yewa Dude Wadandi Awi Dude Buddha Widi Wada Bada Bawon to the Pirata Na Propran Neko Bitana Dimina Katasina Kinsi Piaroda Vega Banyata Yana Banyata Dukamisia Madaya Dania Boda Mayuda Eka Boda Manuraki Ewo Bida Babu de Dumana Bawi Abri Manam Metensa Daba Loka Me Manamawi Abri Mana Ura Dosa Diliensa Adabara Awira Madabatan Daitan Sarani de Noa Yada Noya Wada Vida Mendo Edan the Dane the Dike Abame Down Wira Miga Mahu Etensa Nubagamadi Lawada Nena Dabanoka Meduia Geda Nahida Dugawandiam Punare Di Medado Daniti Dam Kanda Dam Sabadi with Azadinan, Deva Mandangana, we are nothing within what I thought in Sadi Pritiam. Anna Kervita Brada Brada Babanina, Dabadobi, we are ready for a tantamanama. We Rupake hime meta meta erabate hime, Sabia Bode hime meta meta kana got me hisa. Abarge hime meda meda dui barge hime sto bare hime da meda bahu bare hime mama abargo hindi mama hindi dui bargo mama sto baro hindi mama hindi bahu baro tabe dada tabe bana tabe buddha sage ula tabe badrani badan du making si babata kamam abamano bodha abamano dhamma abamano dang abamano dani drika bani He was a Gavara Nabi Ona Nabi Darabumudi Kadame Rakha Kadame Bareka Bareka Mandu Budani Tohana Mova Goa Dona Moda Damanda Budanam Kanado Dani Titam Pusinga Dukam Tandari Tandarana Tabadu Kawina the Neva Data Mesa Pusingi Maradi Navamadane Buzedwa Yesi Vedarwatamwa Mutagoda Mazadi Mazara Vyading Amadani Vyangada Ewa Mari Gunubeda Nega Guna Dengaham Oda Densa Imamantam Buzenge Sabanamahi Buzengo the Divin Kadodamana Visiotata Uriyam Piti Patadi Buzenga Sadata Pare Tamadu Beka, Bozanga Tata de Tabata, Nina, Munina, Tamadekada, Bagita, Bagulikata. Tawadandi Vinyaya Nevanaya Saboriam, Edena de Savuzena, Tutiti Ho to Tabaram. Ekata main the Vila Tom Mankala Nesa Katabangila Nedoki de Detwa Posing Edada de Satan, a pinan de Dwaraga Monsendu de Edena de Savuzena. Tutite ho to Tabaram Egadata Maraza Biglina Bibalino Sauda de Nadaye Wabana Bedwana Dadam Tamo de Dwana Abada to Mauta di Tanada Edena de Savuzena Tutite ho to Tabaram Pinadi Sabada de Nanabi Behedina Mega Hadaki Wapata nobody Tamadam Edena de Savuzena Tutite ho to Tabaram Buzengado Daniti Dam Dopana Dodam Tabe Boda Balapata Pisika Ninsa Yambalam Arahanda Ninsa Dizina Rakambana Mitabado Yangi Si Wedang Irawa Hurawa Dagi Duwaya Yarana Panitam Na Nodama Adida Tagarina Idami Bodirana Panita Idena Desena the Witty Hodu Yangi Si Wedang Irawa Hurawa Dagi Duwaya Yarana Panitam Na Nodama Adida Tagarina Idami Dami Ratanambanita Idena Desena the Witty Hodu Yangi Si Wedang Idawa Hurawa Dagi Duwaya Yarana Panitam Na Nodama Adida Tagadena Idam Bitang Yarnamanitam Edena Desena Duwati Hodu Bawadu Daba Mengalan Rakhandu Daba Devadam Daba Bodha Nuba Wena Dada Duki Bawandu De Bawadu Daba Mengalan Rakhandu Daba Devada Daba Dama Nuba Wena Dada Duki Bawandu De Bawadu Daba Mengalan Rakhandu Daba Devadam Taba Langa Nuba We Natara Duki Bondu De Mahagruni Koda Dodi Rataba Parina Tabeta Tabira Datara Taibotama Edena Desa Wizena Duki De Hodu Tabara Siando Bori Amuleta Yanani Waitano Ewa Miwazeo Hodu Zea Duzea Mingale Apara Sita Pangenke Ide Wupi Vokale Pite Taba Buddha Nam Buddha Tavota Rodati Ava Buddha Nua Sedu Taba Minglan Rakhandu Taba Devra Taba Dhamma Vena Taratu Kipokundu De Eve Bena Doran Hondu Baha Wondu the Rondu DeOvanado Dani Tidam Padisata Mubadam Awesabhyasya then Harabyasya Vinyana Byasya Namarubam Namarubabhyasya Salayatana Byasya Paso Pasa Byasya Vedana Byasya Tana Byasya Ubadana Byasya Bavo Bhavabhyasya Zadi Byasya Zaramarana Toka Parideva Dukha Domanata Upasaya Samuvandi Evo Meta Saki Wala Sa Buddha Sansada Budeo Hoti Parisa Samopani Tidam Byasya Nideta Hedu Byasya Ramana Byasya Dipati Byasya Anandara Byasya Tamanandara Byasya Dahazada Byasya Enya Byasya Nidya Byasya Upanidya Byasya Purisada Byasya Pisadada Byasya Adivana Byasya Ahara Byasya Indriya Byasya Sana Byasya Mega Byasya Tambyoda Byasya Vipyoda Byasya Adi Byasya Nati Byasya Vigara Byasya Avigara Byasya Di Byasya De Do Niti Do Yando Di Medang Wamengalensa Yosamana Bodhaguna Dada Do Babegoho Dudu Bidang Agandam Bodha Nubawena Yano Di Medang Wamengalensa Yosamana Bodhaguna Dada Do Babegoho Dudu Bidang Agandam Dhamma Nubawena Winatamendu Yano Di Medang Wamengalensa Yosamana Bodhaguna Dada Do Babegoho Dudu Bidang Agandam Dhamma Nubawena Winatamendu Dukha Badasani Dukha Baya Badasani Baya Doka Badasani Doka Hondu Tabibi Panino Adawada Samehi Tambaran Bonya Tambaram Tabiriwa Numodan Dudabadam Bori Dedia Tanan Dandan Dudadia Tila Rekhan Dudabadam Pavana Pirida Hondu Kesandu Devada Gadam ဒီနေ့ပြုသမျှကုသလအပေါင်းတို့ကောင်းစွာခွဲပွဲပေါ်စဉ်တောက်တော်ရေးချမ်းပါမဆက်လို့ခြင်းဘုရားအကြောင်းပရိက္ခသုတ်တံဘုဇင်သုတ်တံပရိစ္ဆာသမုပ္ပတံသတ္တနာသုတ်တံရစုပါတော့အကျိုးအားကြောင့်ကြားကြမြတ်နတ်မြတ်တတ်တော်ပေါင်းတို့ကအမြတ်ပေးဝေပါကုန်၏အမြတ်ယူတော်မူကြပါကုန်တော် Everybody sadhu 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 အမြတ်ယူတော်မူကြပါကုန်တော် sadhu 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 အမြတ်ယူတော်မူကြပါကုန်တော် Yeah, we haven't had a group Dhamma talk for quite a few years. We quite often heard the word loka, and translated into English is the world, loka, world. So world can be anything, so we need to understand what loka, English word, the world means. Loka, or the world, is something that is breaking down all the time. The world means it's in a constant state of decay. The world means that is becoming and passing away. That's what the world or loka means. The word loka. There are three classes of world. One is akasha loka. Let's call it natural world. Natural world is the physical world. Just to simplify it, our earth, different planets, galaxy that we can see and that we can't see, but still exist, natural world. Some of the natural worlds are simply purely matter, and some of the natural world also exists living beings. So, in other words, let's say some planets have no residents and some planets have residents. That is akasha loka, physical world, natural world. The other one is Sutta Loka, the world of beings. In here, there are living beings who exist or who lived on those natural world, some of the natural world. They are the residents of the natural world. These beings are, in a way, they have awareness. Sattva is awareness. Natural world doesn't have awareness. These living beings have awareness and they exist on these some of the natural world, seen and unseen. And the third one is Sankhara Loka. Sankhara Loka this is the domain of constant decay, domains of constant becoming and passing away. The first two worlds is under that, the third one, Sankhara world. So they are all called Loka, 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 world, world, world. So in the world of living beings, there are many different types of living beings, seen and unseen. According to general classification, there are 31 types of beings. 4 woeful states. The beings who are always in a state of suffering. They are 4. And then there's a human world. The Manuksa Loka. Manuksa is human, Loka the world. And the third one is celestial world. There are 6 levels of celestial worlds. And another category is Brahmic world. There are 20 of them, altogether 31. Regardless, whichever world one is in, whether it's in the states of constant suffering or in a supreme state of bliss, they are all under that Sankhara Loka. They arise and they passed away. Okay. Celestial worlds and the Brahmic world, they have a long, long, long lifespan. Sometime, so to speak, in a modern language, galaxy formed, galaxy disappeared, but they still exist that long. But still, one day, they passed away. And among those 31, human world is considered as the most fortunate world, according to the Buddha, because in that world they have the freedom to choose. Okay. Freedom to choose, it's not that somebody is setting it up. You can choose because in the human world there is suffering as well as happiness, both of them. In the 4 woeful state, it's a constant state of suffering, so you don't have chance to practice good actions. In the celestial world, they are in a constant state of pleasure. So we know whenever we are in a good, great, grand, lucky states, we forgot to practice. The same thing, celestial world, they forgot to practice, they enjoy this sense pleasure. In the Brahmic world, they are in a constant state of bliss. That's it. So human has a condition by both pleasure and suffering, and we have a choice to do good things or bad things. The other world is conditioned from those situations of the world you are being swayed to one direction or the other. From the human world, you can climb up celestial and Brahman. From the human world, you can go down to the full woeful state. But regardless, all beings, according to the Buddha, we are always in a state of, always in a moment, in the states of drunk in the sense pleasure, which means we are there, we hear a sound, we love it. We see something beautiful, we enjoyed it. In other words, we are always go into the sense pleasure every moment that we encounter any of the sense pleasure. So that is a state of forgetfulness. That is a state of being drunk in the sense pleasure. Only a very few are not drunk. Very, very, very few. But in general, it is there. So, these are the worlds and these are the states that we are conditioned by and then live our life. And to see these worlds, as it is said, they are always in a constant state of decay, breaking down, arising and passing, moment to moment. To be able to see that, the only way to see it through the vipassana insight. Once you have a vipassana insight, you really understand these things. Right now, we understand, but it's just intellectual understanding from listening, from reading. So, vipassana insight is the one that can really make you see these true nature of the worlds, the three worlds. And it's easy to say practicing vipassana, but to be able to practice vipassana, first and foremost, you really must desire, have a chanda, desire to do so. That's the first thing, desire to do so. And only when you have the desire or volition or intention, then you start practicing. Without that, you won't practice because sense pleasure is very strong pull. Okay, we all live with a family and things like that. Only the monks and the nuns renounce the world and they go forth. And even the monks and the nuns, only a few truly practice. So it is a difficult state. We live in this world. And when we live in this world, we are always striving, doing something. What do we do? Most of us, okay, let's look at in a more in a positive life. We work hard. Okay? We educate ourselves hard, work hard, and we become skillful with the means to live, to put food and bread and money on the table, to look after the relatives, family, siblings, and so on. That's all. That is what we are always doing, but doing in a sense that it is with the skill of our, let's call it a job to make a living. That is one way of living. And another way of living in this world is, these are the people who works very hard, not for self-interest anymore. They work for the benefits of others. Of course, including yourself, you are a part of all. So, but the focus is more on the benefits of others. And that is another way of living in this world or loka. First is with our skill of the jobs. A decent job, not a crooked, unwholesome job. Second is we work for the benefits of others. And thirdly, what we do is we live for others, we practice. We practice and we become, somewhat to a degree, we become experienced, experiential. Practice means Satipatthana, Vipassana, or even concentration, samatha, something that is mental training. When we practice these things, what happens is, at one point, you begin to experience and you begin to achieve and attain a certain degree. That is pretty good. Only a few can do it. But still, there is one the Buddha and the elders pointed out. Okay? When you attain these achievement and attainment and Dhamma and insights and experience, get to a certain degree, some began to have a Dhamma conceit. Dhamma conceit means because of the attainments, and also that is very right. The mind is very sharp, very clear, good and bad. It is sharp, clear. But one thing was, it is very, very difficult, not to have conceit, mana. Because conceit is only abandoned when you become arahant. Even the once returner and non-returner, they still have conceit. But these kind of conceits are called Dhamma conceit. I know better. And then suddenly your behavior change. Some of the conceits are pretty strong. Behavior change, and it can have a negative effect onto the surrounding. That's the one thing. It's gives a little bit of a, let's say, information for us to be careful whenever one attains a strong degree of concentration, meditation, or whether it's a certain level of insights, or even a certain level of the first level area. These are so subtle, we are not even aware of it, and we are actually doing it, thinking that from the point of righteousness, starting to relate to others in a different way. So that has to be very careful. And there's another way of living. There are 4 types of living being said. The third way of living is, the best living is, how do we do? Of course, whether in the level 1 or type 1 or type 2 or type 3, the best way is you have to incorporate it in such a way so that one can stay very neutral and stable to the 8 loka Dhamma. The 8 loka Dhamma, I think every one of you knows about it. See? Or lucky or not lucky, which means rich or poor. Having lots of friends or no attendance, no friends. And gain and loss. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So Sukha and Dukkha. Sukha and Dukkha is there's a state of suffering, a state of happiness and bliss. Those are the 8 kinds of Loka Dhamma. And all of us are facing it every day, all the time. And whenever we face with, whether it's the highs or the lows, we must try to make ourselves very stable, not moved by it, and be humble about it. That is the way, one way to live. So there are 4 ways. They are all good, one with a pitfall, and if you live in the world, whatever your condition, your lifestyle allows you, live in that way. And if you live in that way, you will be, regardless, whichever one it is, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, or a combination of them, you live a more of a wholesome, beneficial life. Now, when we say these things, what we are doing was, to the highest level is practicing vipassana. Okay, samatha concentration is good. Vipassana is considered as the most wholesome way or most wholesome action. Because living beings, sattva are driven by a karmic force, unwholesome actions and wholesome actions. Those are the 2 driving forces. And those 2 driving forces climbs you higher, go down deeper. The karma is the driving force. Good and bad actions. To be able to understand and then avoid the bad actions and do the good actions. Akusala, unwholesome. Kusala, wholesome. That is the one that we have to practice on. Only when we can avoid the evil and do the good, we can go through to the path of the vipassana. We call it vipassana, but it is a way to escape from this wall of ups and downs, always breaking, always living, always dying, rebirth and death. That's where it is. So if you want to get out of the samsara, we must know the main roadblock. The main roadblocks are called the 5 hindrances. Nivarana, Pencha Nivarana, 5 hindrances. See, 5 hindrances we know from day 1 at the beginning class. Okay. What are those? Kama Chanda Nivarana, sense pleasure. Vyabhara Nivarana, okay. Aversion, anger. So let's go with Kama Chanda Nivarana first and foremost. This is the 5 sense pleasure. Okay. What we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, and what we touch. And these 5 sense pleasures are happening all the time because we are constantly bombarded by one or the other of the objects. Beautiful sight, pleasant sound, and the great smell, delicious taste, and the lovely touch. Whenever we come in contact with it, we enjoy it, we like it. And first and foremost is you have to have the desire to get out of this rounds of birth and death. And then if you do so, then you have to start putting a restraint upon yourself when it comes to sense pleasure. Very simple way. Okay. One of our Dhammanupassana is when you see something, you practice in such a way it stops at the point of seeing. Seeing, hearing, smelling. That one is you don't have to sit down to meditate. You can do at all time. In other words, your mind has to be inclined to be able to observe that. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. And that's a sense pleasure, or you can call it simply lobha, kama, chanda, nivarana, vyabhara, nivarana. Basically, it's the anger, aversion, dosa. Whenever these, our likes, okay, what we love, what we like, and what we think it should be, what the world should be, is not fulfilled, we have that dissatisfaction arises. That is vyabhara nivarana. So if you have a restraint on the lobha side, wanting side, then there will not be much on the aversion or anger side. But regardless, the anger is abandoned only at the third stage of the Ariya. So we will still have it. It's a matter of whether it's a wicked, crooked, cruel anger or a very subtle form of dissatisfaction. That one we have to observe. So those are the two doors that are being closed. So we open it up. The third door that is closed is Tina Metta Nivarana. We quite liberally say that sloth and torpor. But for the practitioner, what is sloth and torpor? Tina Metta Nivarana. For the practitioner is being lazy to do wholesome thing. It's sloth and torpor. Not being wanting to associate with wholesome environment is sloth and torpor. So look at it that way, sloth and torpor, not just sitting and you're having a little bit of sleepiness and drowsy. That is specific for the sitting meditation side. But sloth and torpor for a meditator is being lazy not to do wholesome thing, being lazy not to do beneficial thing, being lazy not to help out other people. The best that you can, that is the sloth and torpor. And restlessness and remorse, kokacha, dukkhacha, nivarana. And here is, the thing is mostly guilt, to put in a very simple form. Okay? Guilt in a sense of forgetting to do something good and wholesome. And then when you remember it, you feel guilty or remorse. Forgetting to do something good and wholesome that you haven't done before. And then you remember it, and then you feel guilty. And then something you did unwholesome, which means you hurt and harm somebody. Okay? In a very lower level, it has to be very nasty and obvious. But for the practitioner, these become very subtle. Sometimes it is just a simple thought. Okay, damn it, this shouldn't be. Who is doing what? Just in the mind, that kind of a state. Okay? In other words, you began to have a righteousness holding on, and then you pound on other. Maybe verbally, maybe in thought level. And then later, as you are a practitioner, you become later aware of it, and you have that guilt and remorse. And when you have the guilt and remorse, nothing you could do except that, yes, I have done it, such and such and such. I will make sure, to the best of my ability, I will not do this again. I will not think about it again. I will not speak about it again. And then whatever has happened, you forgive yourself. In other words, don't feel guilty about it. But it doesn't stop there. You make a vow or resolution that you will not commit again, or you will make sure you will do all these good deeds again and again and again. That is restlessness and remorse. And doubt, or vicikiccha. Vicikiccha is the easiest one, is according to what we say is doubt in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and Karma, and so on and so forth. Very clear-cut statement, but you have to understand those things. But now doubt for a practitioner on a more pragmatic style. Okay. Doubt is, number one, you have a problem. You think about it, you try to find a solution, and you just can't get the answer. You are in a state of confusion. You can't get the answer. That is doubt. Vicikiccha. In Burmese they call dolo. Is this or that, or maybe this, maybe that kind of thing. That's a doubt. And sometimes clear cut, this is good, this is bad. Okay? Good and bad, because all Buddhism is about good and bad and purity of mind. Good and bad, some are very clear cut, but some are not clear cut. Sometimes you are doing something you think it is really good, really good, and it turns out to be bad. Later you found out, or somebody told you, or through discussion. Sometimes you are doing bad things. It could be bad. Or sometimes you can even say, I do this bad, but something good happened. It's okay, I can do this again. See? What is it? Is it right? Is it wrong? Some are in that kind of unsettled states, can't define states, not very clear cut. So whenever you are doing something, of course you are doing it because that you think it is good. But at the same time, there are many different perceptions from various people arise. One said, no, what you're doing is not good. Or what you're doing is good. Or what you're doing is wholesome. What you're doing is unwholesome. That kind of thing will arise one time or the other in your life. Whenever those kind of things arises, this is the way you alone can decide it, that is right or wrong. You alone can decide it, because there are two versions are coming at you. This is good or this is bad. The same thing, situation A. One said this is good, one said this is bad. And at that time, ask yourself, am I doing this so that it could be a better or worse, to make the situation better or worse? In other words, your intention. Look at your intention, better or worse. Better or worse, because there are so many conditions and situations surrounding that a situation. So many things are there. It is difficult to make it, but you have to see how you actually felt about your action. That's one thing. Okay. It seems like it is right now what I'm doing is making it really not that favorable, but in a long term it will be very good. Okay? It seems like it will disbenefit some people, but in a long term it will benefit the organization, many people. Okay? Those are the things you have to think about it. Or am I doing this just to put a little bit of a thorn beside somebody else's flesh? Or am I doing this? No, it is nothing personal. It is simply doing which will benefit many. Okay? So only you know yourself truly and fully. Ask yourself those questions when those kind of doubtful situation arises. And if your intention is right, if you don't hurt or harm anybody in the process, it might inconvenience someone else, but in a long term it will benefit many, because we cannot be perfect in this imperfect world. And if that's the case, you are doing a wholesome thing, kusala karma. So we avoid akusala and we do kusala. So those are the 5 doors that block us. So we always try to open that 5 doors, eliminate that 5 doors. And these 5 doors can be opened with samatha meditation, whatever type of samatha meditation you do it to. But one thing was, they can only subdue it to a certain point. And when your concentration power is lack and waning, they come back. But vipassana can permanently stop these nivarana and then open the door to the insight towards the nibbana. So with that, may all of you be able to practice Satipatthana Vipassana and subdue all the nivaranas and attain a state of elimination of all suffering as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham Jemi. Dhammam Jemi. Sangham Jemi. Okay, sharing of merits. Imaya Dhammanu Dhammapati Patiya Buddham Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhammapati Patiya Dhammam Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhammapati Patiya Sangham Pujemi. Adha imaya adipatiya jaramaranama primochesami idame punya asavekya vahang hotu idame silam mekapalanya picheo hotu imano punya bhagam sabba satanam dema sabbe sata sukhita hontu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham Pujemi. Dhammam pujemi. Sangam pujemi. Okay, let us step down to 5 precepts. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Tatiyami Dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Panati pata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Adena dana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Kamesu miccachara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Surabhiriya micca pamadatthana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Idame silam megaphala jnanassa Picheo hotu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddham pujemi. Dhammam pujemi. Sangham pujemi. Thank you very much for being with Dhamma.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.